Sorry, not sorry.
This is the Warehouse 15, and unfortunately, or fortunately for me, I'm coming to you from beautiful Mahi, Hawaii. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Sorry, but not sorry. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get some
It
beautiful
looks so
sun here.
beautiful there. It looks like an AI backset. That's how
It
nice
does,
it looks.
It's
except
really
for
nice, and I'm here with my kids and my family. They haven't been here ever. That's the kind of parent I am. No kids have ever been to Hawaii. So, but it's a beautiful place. Obviously, expensive for locals, which I feel badly about. They have the
Isn't it
housing
expensive
costs.
overall though?
It is, but it's an interesting dichotomy of things, right? Because you have this beautiful area where you can kind of just enjoy nature and do all this kind of cool stuff. But then if you live here, you've got your tourism is your big profit center, right? So it's kind of I would say, a love-hate relationship, but not really. They kind of deal it in, but hopefully the tourists come and are respectful and participate with the right amount of deference to the community and to the environment and stuff. So it's just been a great
I never,
trip, great
I,
food.
I never, I never been to Maui, but I've been to obviously Oahu. But like, what's it? I mean, I hear that Maui and Kauai, they're like just so beautiful and there's the scenery is great. And there's parts of Oahu that are as well, but I know there's a lot of commercialism in Oahu. Is there the same in Maui? I
Yeah,
mean, they have a
I mean
city,
it's
city.
different. It's different. Like Oahu's just a big city. I mean, I think it's more like New York. Here, it's still an island feeling. It's a lot of beautiful land and forest and things to do that are all outdoor, jumping off rocks into lakes and rivers and the ocean. So I think it's different. Kauai's even less developed, so you can kind of come here and really just kind of get away from it all if that's what your intention is. I think in that sense,
I,
it's probably better.
I remember in Oahu, there's obviously Waikiki Beach, which is obviously the tourist spot. Then there's Hanama Bay around, kind of, where you get a little bit more local type people and stuff like that. So that I remember that was pretty cool. But unfortunately, you're the wrong island because I had a request from one of our co-hosts for you to go and do something to somebody, but I won't mention
Oh,
it. So I'll let it
would
go.
have been my pleasure. Would
Nah,
have been
yeah,
my
I
pleasure. I'd
know.
love to help people with
I
their
remember
pain.
I remember 2000 US Open was in Hawaii.
Oh,
Were you guys
really?
at
Yeah,
that one?
I
Yeah,
didn't
you
go.
didn't go. Yeah, 2000 US Open. That was my first time on an airplane. First time
Oh,
ever I
Really?
flew to Hawaii. Yeah, and I think back then they told us, if I remember, it was like 9 hours over water. A long trip over there to fight. I fought that was 14-17 black belt. I think it was 50, the second division, 105. Cause I missed weight for 99. That was the one time I didn't make weight. And
Oh,
when I was trying to fight 99 and under, I was trying to fight
man.
99 and under, and I had to move up to 105.
Everyone hear you talk about weight loss again. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just kidding. Actually,
Oh yeah.
it's I think today's going to be actually kind of interesting because we're going to be all over the place because we don't really have we always come with some sort of agenda. We always have some, kind of topic or two or something that's popped off. And we're right in the middle between competitions. We have the Junior Pan Am's is going to start tomorrow, which I'm really excited to check out. And then we have the President's Cup, which is in Peru. And then, no, actually, no, I'm sorry, the Pan Am, and then the Grand Prix Challenge in Korea, and then the President's Cup. So there's three big tournaments kind of coming up. So we're kind of right before that. So I know we're not going to talk about it, but I uh, I have a guest in town, and I know the guy's father really, really well. His name is Gary Hall. Gary Hall is responsible for GB just blowing up, right around 2012, a little bit before 2012. Um, they started having some serious success, and he was their technical director. And he used to be a fighter back in our day, young, back in the day. And but anyway, he transitioned to their technical director, really just transformed GB into a professional environment. And his son has a son, and he brought him here to Florida. They're contemplating on moving to Florida, and the kid is 14 years old, and he's about 6'3", 6'2",
wow,
huge,
wow.
huge. But I bring him up because the first night I took him to dinner, and we went and had some Cuban food and stuff like that. And he asked me about you, Young, and he was
Ooh,
like, 'cause this guy, his name is Nathan Hall. I'll mention him by name. He worked for the USAT for a little bit in the as a PT. I think he's got his master's or
I remember
doctorate
that.
now. He actually just got his license here in America, but he's very educated guy, and he was working for them for a while, and he decided to leave them for various reasons, whatever. But he was asking me about you because he said he had a meeting, and it was with back. He worked there when May was there, May Spence, and he mentioned that I got a little confused because he's like, you know Herb Perez, and I'm like, yeah, very well. I mean, it's like my brother, and he's like, how was he? Was he good? And I'm like, Herb was really good. Herb was a beast. He was a monster, and this and that. Sorry, he's like, yeah, because May, if I'm not mistaken, he said that May said you weren't good, but but when we went to Korea, like you were a monster, like you tried to beat the crap out of every person that you fought, everyone sit in front of you, and she said that you really stood out. So I was a little bit, I don't know if it got lost in translation, obviously speaking English, but our conversation was all over the place. But I thought it was funny that your name got brought up, and we
Well,
talked a
that's
little bit about
unfortunate.
you.
I mean,
So
that's great, but I mean, it's funny. May was an interesting athlete because she took probably the most backward style of taekwondo ever created by Sang Lee, and it didn't work for anyone. I mean, literally everybody that tried that style internationally got beat up and down the floor, including a bunch of our friends. So, and I like all the people that tried it because they were loyal to Sang Lee, but it didn't work. Like if you followed his style with his, Chunjin, Hujin, little small step, doing all this weirdness, Korea would just kind of laugh and, look at your kindergarten taekwondo and just beat you up and down the floor. The
I
one
will,
thing that May had was she was a tough kid, right? Like,
yeah,
I think she was
I will
tough.
give.
But
I mean, talking about styles was real fast. I mean, I know
yeah,
this doesn't really relate to most people, but actually, her brother Sam, his older brother, but he fought flyweight. He actually made it work for a little while. He wasn't special, but for some reason, he could use his that style, and if
Sammy, it's
anybody
hard to
made it
say
work,
anything
it
bad
was
about.
him.
Yeah, Sammy's
Yeah,
a good friend, and he was another one. Actually, the two people that probably made it work the best for them were Sammy and May. Everybody
yeah,
else that tried it
for sure.
just got killed. But even then, that was just, its shortcomings would come to fruition and to light when they got to the later rounds if they got that far.
Oh
So
yeah,
it would work against, average
average
players.
people.
But
Yeah,
May's an interesting character. Yeah, she was put in that job, probably shouldn't have had that job. Um,
for sure.
and then didn't have the expertise to do it, didn't have the political or social sense on how to do it, and then more importantly, just didn't understand how to do high performance. So that revealed
But
itself pretty
But then
quickly.
she
And
actually, unfortunately, she surrounded herself with the wrong people, and then they used her as a scapegoat. For better or worse. And
yeah, I
some
think
of it
that's
was
true. But she was a
some of it
poster
was
child
self-inflicted.
for, let's be frank, right? We talk the truth here. She was a poster child for a lot of problems in the organization back when she was competing. And I won't say
Yeah,
anything more on it than that, but
correct.
she was a poster child for some problems which USAT created and then still hasn't fixed. So
Yeah,
yeah, anyway, hopefully she said good things because I'll give her at least the respect she's due. She was an Olympian and uh,
yeah,
and that kind of stuff,
true.
but she is what she
That's
is.
Hey,
one of the hardest thing for people to do is give people respect when they're not around, you know? It's
yeah,
it's the biggest issue.
I mean, USAT has had always had kind of, when it came to the leadership of those that were afraid because they weren't qualified, then they start taking shots at those that are qualified. So you can't, like we talked about last week, you can't be concerned about ankle biters, right? These are ankle biters. They didn't perform well. They had limited success, if they had any, and probably in that particular group, May was probably the one that was the most successful, right? So,
yeah.
you have three ways that you can raise yourself. One is raise yourself. Do the best you can to be the best you can. Don't look backwards because what's behind you doesn't matter. Look in front because that's a really beautiful view, as you can see here in Hawaii. Number two,
Hmm.
you can criticize those that came before you and make them less so that you can look like more. And then number three, you can ignore those that came before you and act like you recreated sugar and salt. And the USAT has become really good at doing number two and number three, so it's that's just the
What do you?
nature. I learned this ironically from Jay Warwick, who told me a story, and it was about a CEO when he was a CEO of something. And he said, a CEO gets fired, and on the way out, he's meeting his replacement, and he says to the guy, listen, the guy that comes in says, can you give me any advice? And he says, well, listen, I wrote 3 letters. I'm going to put
Oh
them in
yeah,
the drawer of your desk. When you get into problem number one, open letter number one. Should it happen again, open letter number two. And then finally, if it happens again, I've left one final letter. So sure enough, the guy says thank you, doesn't really think about it. So sure enough, he gets into his first problem with the organization. And he says, opens up letter number one, and it says, blame,
blame.
blame your predecessor. Tell him you're going to need more time. So that's the first thing you do. So he does that, tries that, and then of course he still is in more trouble. Gets to problem number two. He says, "Oh, tell him it was worse than you thought, and you're going to need more money and more time." So he does that, and then obviously gets into problem number three. Opens up letter number three, and it says, "Write 3 letters." This is
Yeah, yeah.
unfortunately this is how
I
Jay has. Listen, that's how Jay lived his life, right? He got into USAT, got in
Mm.
trouble because he sucked the proverbial teat of the Korean mafia, and then they did him. And when they did him, he
they
was
got him.
crying, "Woe is me, woe is me." Then he went into the USOC, and the same thing happened. And the same thing happened at Godfather Pizza, and it pretty much happens in his life. So he's gone full circle back to USAT, and I'm sure. Well, I hope somebody's giving him 3 letters, but I think he's on letter number 4. So, and apparently
You
he
know, it's
has an
funny.
open letter 4.
It's funny when I mean, now I'm dating myself, but I'm going back when that time frame was going on. I remember talking to him on Sunday night because there was a lot of who's going to be the president, who's going to be all this different stuff, and I said, hey, is everything okay? Blah, 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 blah. And he was like, yep, everything's good. I'm solid. I'm staying there. Monday morning, fired.
Oh yeah,
Like Sunday night, he thought everything was perfect, perfect, perfect.
yeah.
On Monday morning, they cut him like they used to. Yeah, they got rid of him. And you're right; it was a group of people that just kind of
His boy
got rid of
fired
him.
him. No, his boy, the boy that he carried the water for. They in Korea they call them chogi boys.
Yeah,
So Jay has been
yeah,
spent a career carrying water for other people, and then trying to stay low enough on the radar where he doesn't get noticed and he gets a paycheck. And so
hey,
he got covered. He got cut by his boy. His boy, you know, Sang Lee cut him. That let's be clear on who cut
yeah.
him.
Yeah. TJ, I like what you said, man. Because you know what? I think that's as much shade as we throw around here and stuff like that, and we give out the proverbial, good job when people do something good. But I like what you said. We can give people respect even if you don't like them. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah,
I'm not saying that we like or dislike me, but that's true. I get hats off. Olympic medalist and fought was a good fighter for a long time. Maybe we don't agree with some of the things that happened in the end of her administration situation, but not disrespecting the
She
stuff that
didn't.
they
She
did
didn't know
with it.
how. She didn't. I mean, I've only
Yeah,
known her for the time that I knew and I had to work around her. She didn't know how to talk to people. She didn't know how to function in a room with like normal people. You know what I mean? It
yeah,
was a headache, and I know we've talked about that and experienced some of those things,
she
but
wasn't
she shouldn't
normal.
have been in that
TJ,
position.
you're missing the point. She wasn't normal. She was royalty. She was anointed by
Mm.
Sang Lee. She moved to Colorado or wherever the hell she moved to. She was, she was as bad as anybody else. She was anointed queen, and apparently you just didn't get the memo. So, she was,
Yeah.
the question is, why should she talk to you? You're a bronze
but
medalist. You don't
even
talk to bronze
it's it.
medalists.
Yeah, again, let's. I mean, it's time to talk about the president and maybe the future. But I'd say something about the past that was weird about that. Like you got to imagine this person didn't have a dojang, never had a dojang, never coached a program. Like had been out of the sport for I don't know, was it 10 years more, maybe more, and then all of a sudden, shoom, like out of the sport. Not like teaching, not coaching, like nothing. Like had a whole nother business with her family, and then right into high performance. So that was again, it doesn't even matter. It's the past, But the current administration is still part of that era, if you will. It's kind of crazy. I don't know.
Well, listen,
Yeah,
she good for her. She was able to reap some benefit. She married a good friend of ours who I like,
yep,
and
me too.
yeah, so there's nothing to really say badly about him. but she didn't.
Hey,
She was daddy's girl. She didn't work a day in her life. I don't. Did she ever have a job? Did she ever have a
I know
job?
she worked hard, and I don't. I know it with the current business that her husband, they
Yeah.
bought. I know she worked pretty hard. She
Did
did a
she
lot of
work in
things.
that?
She really got.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
good for
she
her.
did. She,
Good
yeah.
for her.
Hey, speaking of the organization, man, TJ, what do you think about like this? I mean, I know we joked about it a few times with the Pumse stuff, and then they came out with the after action report. I don't know. Did you read that a little bit or hear about that?
I I did
Dude,
read that. That
those
I
people
don't
are
know. It was
pissed. Those people,
as
Pumse
they
people, are pissed.
I'm gonna say as you almost as you should be. Like I don't again, let me start. I don't know anything about Pumse. I don't know what the scoring system is. I don't know what a half point plus I don't know the margin of error. I just
Oreo
know it was a
Tuli.
I
Sorry,
just
sorry.
know it was a no, it's all good. It
Well,
almost needed. That was a
wait,
perfect sound
before you
effect.
continue, just remember you were talking to a ninth degree Grand Master, Herbert Perezu, and I
Yeah,
am
but
Cookie
I
One
did see your Pumse.
certified. Cookie One cert.
I,
No, 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 no. Don't throw any shit. Cookie wants. I'm the only person in the world, only person in the entire world with a ninth degree and an Olympic gold medal. So when you speak about the Pumse, which I love dearly in my heart, Ilyo and Hansu and his
hey,
brother
I
hey,
don't know
Mugu
if
Gai
do you
Pan.
really?
What?
hold on, time
Do
out.
you really?
Pumse,
Are you a
Cookie
Pumse
One,
guy?
and
Me?
Cookie
No.
One, and WT Sport is different. You're no, this is good. You know good.
I
I
have
think
the
you're
best. I have the best of both. And you must, when you
TJ.
speak
I
to me
saw that.
now, you call me Grand Master of Hawaiian Disaster. So you don't
I remember
speak it to me like that. In fact, you
we
are
used to
not
have
even allowed to
uniforms.
look at me. Turn your eyes away. I am a ninth degree Grand Master Pubab. And only one in the entire world. Not another one,
Hey,
nor
I'm
probably
going
will
to
there ever be
California
another one.
next week. I'm going to California next
Yeah.
week, and I'm challenging you to a Pumse off.
Oh,
Me and you
nice.
live.
Well, I think I
Oh,
know
you're
number one extremely well, and I'm not talking about black belt. I'm talking about for my yellow belts. Go ahead, go. I didn't
no
mean
sorry.
to throw shade on your dissertation on Pumse, since you are such an
No.
unequivocal grandmaster of Pumse.
Hey, listen, there was a time and a day when I was a 12, 13 black belt double gold medalist at nationals,
Oh,
and
nice.
Pumse was that second gold medal. Yeah, my
Things that
Coach
I would
Remark used
never
to make
tell
us do
anybody had
forms.
I done it. That's something I would never let escape my
I don't
mouth. But
know.
go ahead.
I don't know. I scraped the day though. I could have lost. Okay, I got gold medals. Those were in my house for a while.
I
But
was
no,
forced
I
to
think
do
it's
Pumse once, just once. Go ahead.
yeah, I think it was. I think that overall situation is interesting. I think the rollout of the information afterwards is interesting, and then the I guess what kind of tipped me was the statement of we
Oh,
consider this case closed or this issue closed. Like that was that was strange to me. I don't know how the organization works. I don't know the ins and out, but
apparently.
to get a lawyer involved in something that was on the competition floor is
TJ,
nutty.
TJ, the fact like they actually had an after action report on just that thing, not on the tournament, not I mean, there's been a lot of controversial things in fighting throughout the years, and they've never gone to the length of putting I think it was like 4 pages or something like that. It was written out. And even to the point of they were looking into via social media, video, and still
Oh,
pictures
that part.
of young watch this of people that were booing or doing something that could be construed as bullying. I'm like, wait a minute. So now they're going to go and look and just determine if somebody's bullying because they didn't agree with a decision. People disagree all the time, whether it's fighting, whether it's, uh, again,
So
Pumse,
what
whether, I
was the
mean,
original thing that caused all this?
I don't know.
um,
Someone had some scores. They went to the table, apparently complained. Long story short, something in Pum say that the top eight continue on. They added another kid in to make it nine, saying that something happened with his scoring, and they added an extra person into the finals. And that kid that was outside the bottom of the top eight, ninth place, ended up winning the whole thing. I don't
Oh,
know.
sorry,
I don't know.
I'll give it a little bit more, Young. It was only the top eight go. This person was 12th, I believe. And then what happened was they went through everything. They went through everything. The guy that came up happened to be the national team coach, and it was his son. And so he went up and talked to them, and then they figured out there was some irregularities in the triggers when they score. But And then the guy, the kid, the person that said that, he goes, I might have been double pushing, like instead of giving one deduction, maybe two, maybe three, maybe four. So it's just interesting because I think me and you talked about this, TJ, that he didn't say anything, that he didn't even know he may have been double pushing until he talked. And then they highlighted him and he said, yeah, I may have been. Only for that one, not for anybody else. I mean, it's just, and then they said it wasn't working. Again, maybe it's all true. I'm going to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but it was just an unprecedented thing that they put this person in there. And then he was behind by such a big margin and then won.
Oh,
Again, like TJ said, I don't know anything about Pumse's
who's the
scoring,
coach?
but
Who's the coach?
I don't want to mention my name because I actually like the guy. And I
Well,
don't think
everybody will
he's,
know his name.
I
He's the
don't,
guy. He's the coach. What's his name?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know his
It's
name
Master
either.
Gun, Grandmaster Gun.
Your name is
It's
Joe, and you
Gun.
the
don't know
Gun.
Gun. I
Yeah.
don't
But
know him.
Yeah.
so I just for me it was just like I guess what I'm saying is it was such a big thing that there was so many comments on these threads, and then for them to put that out there, and then again, just like I said, just go all the way down into this. They're looking to see if people are could be construed as bullying. I'm like, no one's
Wow.
bullying that athlete. No one's bullying that. It's just I don't know what's going on with sport in general, and it
Yeah, my
bothers me.
issue is just again, my issue will always remain the like at that point the referee. Like, how do you? I mean, even if you thought you were double pushing at that point, don't you just say something then?
Yeah,
Like, don't we? Doesn't that stop the whole situation right then and there?
it doesn't look good. That I'll tell you that right now. It doesn't look good at all. So
Yeah, so that's what it was with that whole swearing. I think it's crazy. Like I said, I've never seen a statement like that, and I've definitely never seen a lawyer having to get involved and review something, and then them posting, "Oh, he's done nothing wrong." I don't think anyone, again, not me. Again, maybe I don't know enough. I'm not going that Master Gun or Grandmaster Gun has did anything wrong. I just think it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
strange that the referee. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's just always blown out of proportion or taken the wrong way. But also, how do you tell people they can't boo?
yeah.
How do you tell people they can't have a reaction in the stands while watching a sport? Like, obviously, I know there's little kids and blah 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 and this, but like, if I wish I could see the video because I don't really know what happened. I know that apparently they took the video off USAT.
Oh,
Yeah.
They removed the video
Oh,
from the platform.
they took the whole ring down. You're right. You're right. Yep.
Yeah, that's
It,
strange, but
see, that's strange, right? That doesn't look good, right? That doesn't look good. I mean, if you have nothing to hide, then just leave it up there. I mean,
not
what's it going
even
to matter?
hide. It's just such a
Yeah.
strange thing to do. Like you don't like when NFL have bad games, the NBA has bad
any
games. They
kombucha,
just
baby?
no one removes the footage of a bad call or a bad situation. It's up there for viewing. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I
I
just
mean,
sent you the.
transparency is always good. I mean, my son just did the Safe Sport certification, and when you do Safe Sport, it's got this. Thank you. It's got this whole thing on bullying and cyberbullying and stuff like
Oh
that. So
yeah.
maybe that's
Oh yeah.
where that's coming from. You know.
No, no. Listen, that's a big part of safe sport right nowadays, and they're definitely more self-conscious about that, as we should, right? But again, it's just I don't know, man. I think they're way over, dramatizing this stuff.
Well,
So
how do you hold
interesting.
people in the stands
Like,
other than encouraging them not to boo or not to say anything? How do you hold somebody who's not a member of the organization to your standards, right? You can remove them from an
yeah,
arena if they're disruptive, but
yeah, yeah.
expressing your pleasure and displeasure, unfortunately, is part of sport, and you got to kind of figure that
It
out a
is
little
part of
bit.
sport.
But I think it's funny that we're spending any time at all talking about Pumse because I could care less. I mean, boo hoo.
You think it'll make it to the Olympic Games?
When it makes it to the Olympic Games, I'm going to stop watching the Olympic Games. I'm going to go watch the X
The
Games
whole
instead.
games?
If Pumse makes it to the Olympic Games, which let's be clear, here's the genealogical, archaic, archaeological, not archaic, it is archaic, uh, trail of the genesis of Pumse. Koreans don't have Pumse. Koreans, Pumse comes from karate, from Okinawa.
But
They didn't have
not
Pumse.
anymore.
Well, no, no. So let's go back to where they were. They didn't.
Yeah.
They came from karate. So this idea that we had Pumse and it's something that matters came from karate. Basically, then you've created the next version of it, which still came from karate. Then you tried to copy point karate and tricking and all that, and that came from karate. So all of this stuff that they're doing, which has nothing to do with fighting, the techniques in them aren't realistic. They don't have any foundation in anything to do with Taekwondo. They're just fakey, made up, you know, double knife hand
I hear
block.
you.
What is this holding? This one's holding my coffee while I block you. I mean, come on now. Like, Pumse's a joke. I mean, and anybody that doesn't say Pumse's a joke has never fought. So the only thing worse than
I just don't think
Pumse
we
is
identify as
probably,
a. I mean,
huh?
obviously, I don't think we identify as a. Unfortunately, and like we don't identify as a fighting sport from
Well, I
the
was going to
beginning.
say
Like
right
people
now
see
it
more
kind of doesn't
Poomsae
matter if
when
our
they go
worst
into martial
problem
arts
is
schools around the
Pumse.
country.
Yeah, if our worst problem is Pumse, like I guess you'd have to say this. If you would you rather watch an Olympic match currently of fighting or an Olympic Pumse competition? And I guess I probably would watch Pumse because at least it's over quicker, you know, and it's got better technique probably. So I
Got
don't
it.
know. I mean, I can't watch fighting.
I mean, listen, I again, the Boomsday stuff, I give these guys a lot of credit right now. These dudes can do some crazy good stuff, but I get your
Yeah,
point, Young, where it kind of came from, and not that I'm talking about this as it's relative or relevant or anything like that. I just thought again the situation that happened at the national championships was unprecedented to have I guess lawyers involved for them to put out an after action report for everybody in the world to see it. I mean, first of all, from what I could tell, everyone that received that was not happy with it at all. Didn't believe that it justified the means. So, um,
You're
yeah,
talking about
pretty
the
crazy. Just a
lawyer
crazy
document?
situation. Yeah, I mean, was it a lawyer document? I don't know. It just seemed like a
I don't
legal
know. It was a
document. It was,
long
yeah,
post
yeah,
explaining like I guess they reviewed it, the points, what happened, explanations, all this stuff like that. It was a lot. It was a lot because I think way worse things have happened in the fighting side, and there were
yeah,
no after action reports. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They're
yeah,
way worse things, way more. I mean, we just argue about it amongst each other, and then they kind of just they're like, oh, these guys are crying or these guys are complaining, and it just dies. It's just interesting to see that. I mean, and a good. I mean, they got a response, I guess.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
there's been a lot of things that don't get responses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Well,
proof. Bro, I mean, good point. Fair
yeah.
point.
But I mean, like the worst lawyers in the
I
You
was
want to talk
talking to
about
world
my
those?
that have
I,
ever
I was
worked
talking
for anyone, they kissed a devil's ring, are those that work for USA Taekwondo. Like if you take that client, you deserve
You're
what you
I think
breaking
you're
get.
up.
cutting out a little bit. Yeah.
So like the USA Taekwondo
Yeah, you're breaking up a
uses
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
what's that? Oh,
You were
No, you
breaking
were
up for a
breaking up a
second
little
there.
bit.
it's probably my
You're good now.
beautiful. I seem like. Can you hear me now?
What do you say,
I don't know
TJ?
if he's there.
You guys are
No, I was
breaking
gonna
up.
say I was talking to one of my yeah, I was talking to one of my friends yesterday. You know anything about those enhanced games?
Yeah,
Yeah, do you know Taekwondo's on the bracket as one of the sports for the enhanced games?
I did not know that.
Apparently, it's like I think Taekwondo was on there. I think they're trying to get Taekwondo and boxing and like even combat sports. And again, I don't know, I don't know how that benefits, but I thought it was interesting to see it. That's a crazy concept, though, right?
Yeah.
What is enhanced games?
No, so basically, it's gonna be a version of I guess the Olympic Games where they allow some levels of sport doping,
No,
Oh,
not some levels. Any level. Any
all
level.
levels.
All
They're not
level.
gonna drug
And
test, I guess.
and they're giving like millions of dollars away. Lot of money. So for like the wrestlers or for the Olympic lifters or for the sprinters, do as much as you want, and let's see who the best person is. Crazy.
How can you do that? I think it's crazy. The concept is crazy. I
It
mean, I'm
is.
gonna watch obviously, but the concept is crazy. And they're probably gonna make $1 billion. It's like watching. It's gonna be like watching superhero athletes perform. You know what I mean? They're gonna be faster, and like I think maybe as audience you're drawn to it. If someone's doing a long jump and they're jumping 3 feet further than the norm, you're like, I gotta tune in and watch this. You know what I
Or
mean?
or lifting weights if the world record is 220 snatch and a guy's doing 280. You're like, what? Like, how is that
Hmm.
possible? So yeah,
Yeah, and I think there's a whole community of people who like almost because you think anything gets kind of boring for a while, right? No world records are really broken too deeply into it. Every now and then there's something that changes by a little bit, but these numbers are gonna blow things out of the water. Obviously, there'll be an asterisk next to it, and it'll be like in these games, but like then that's gonna become the same thing, right? You're gonna get crazy jumps and leaps, and I just wonder how it affects the lower level high school, college athlete development pathway, and all that
Well,
stuff.
want me to tell you if this is successful? Want me to tell you what it's going to do? It's going to destroy the Olympics. You know why? Because people are going to say, "Why should I go the Olympic route and virtually make no money?" And I can go to the hands games and make $1 million. It's no different than boxing. Boxing used to be huge. Amateur boxing used to be huge in America. Now, not so big. Why? Because people say, why should I go all the way through to the Olympics and not make anything when I can, 18 years old, I can go straight start fighting professional. That's how people think. They think with money. I mean, that's what will happen. And I'm talking the sports that it'll help, like weightlifting, like jumping, like sprinting, like swimming, like any of those things where people can dope and are like cycling, endurance type sports. Maybe it doesn't work in taekwondo. It will work in judo. It will work in wrestling. You know, uh, you watch if those games are successful, they could ruin because the feats that they're going to be doing are going to just surpass the Olympians by so much, and the money will be so big. It'll be such a draw that and now it could backfire. People might say, look at these freaks, look at them getting injured, look at them dying, I don't know, prematurely. Again,
Yeah,
I think there's more
I
of a
just think
chance to succeed than fail.
that part. I think people are entertained by what's entertaining. You know what I mean? I don't really think, I think we're sports people and like we like, I know you a lot of facts and a lot of history on all the sports and how it got there, but most people don't. Most people click on their phones and they want to see someone jump far or do a backflip or do some crazy stuff, and they're drawn to that. And they're like, "Oh, this guy's gonna be on this event next week." That's how they kind of get it. I think it's a crazy bold move. I guess I wonder how the legality they had to go through to make something like that
Well,
Yeah.
fly. I
there
guess it doesn't
isn't. You
matter. I
don't
guess
need
you set
any.
your rules.
You don't need
Yeah,
them
so I
if
say you
you
set your rules for your
yeah,
organization.
if you don't participate in the Olympic movement or if you don't participate in a professional league that has rules for drugging and doping, you don't have to worry about it. So I mean, let's take this to the next logical conclusion. So you decide if you're doing this um, redheaded stepchild version of Taekwondo that everybody's doing now, you realize that taller guys who are more flexible yield better. So when your child is 12, you put extensions on your leg. You take them to China and they'll cut your leg. And then they put these bone graft things that spread your legs so you get longer and taller. So you take a
You think
kid
people are
who's,
doing that for Taekwondo?
yeah, why not? Let's do
That's
it
a
for
lot.
Taekwondo. So now we're going to take these guys, these little skinny, um, whatever kind of athletes, and make them taller. So now you got 7 foot 12 athletes that are skinny. They've been genetically modified. And while we're at it, let's change the composition of their flexibility, and then let's give them performance enhancing drugs so that they can be not smarter but certainly stronger. So now you got
That's
that's the next level. So is that what you want to see? I guess I don't know.
That's like
Hey,
the Happy Gilmore 2 movie. Great movie, by the way. If you guys
Hmm.
haven't watched Happy Gilmore 2 and you watched the first one, do yourself a favor, watch the second one. It's
I thought it
amazing.
was
But
awesome.
little spoiler alert, if you guys haven't watched it, fast forward through this part. They removed some little bone in the guy's back, so it helped them drive the ball like so much further because they could twist all the way back here and then drive the ball like extra 300 yards over the total. So it was a kind of cool thing, but it's the same thing, kind of enhancing for sport. It was just kind of made me think about
Hey,
that when you said that.
hey, well, young, actually, there was I think a little undertone shots at the new golf, the live golf. You know how they've changed the golf versus the
For
traditional golf,
sure.
and it was kind of like that. But young, it was funny when you posted your Olympic Day thing on social media the other day, and so I pushed it, and I was watching with Camila. I was like, Camila, look at Mr. Perez. Look at him. Look at here. Look at I go look at him. He's gonna cry. He's understand. He's like, and she's like laughing, watching because I was making fun of you. But then she's like, oh my god, the ring is so big. How come they get a fight in that giant ring? Now we got this
Oh
little tiny ring. She couldn't believe how big the ring was, and because she had never seen it, right? And I'm like, yeah, those things were big back in the day, boy. You
yeah,
could just
That must be that must be an amazing moment though. I think when I was growing up, that was the epitome of like success. You wanted to be on the medal stand,
yeah.
first place, so you can hear your anthem being played. Like that moment, I watched it too. That moment has to be like so special. You know what I
It
mean?
never gets
Those are
old.
the dreams that we had as kids. You know, I wanted to be on that first place podium and
Yeah.
watching the flag raise and hearing the anthem in front of all those people is like gotta be sick.
Well, that's why
I know
you
it's
know, you always,
cliche.
we talked about this last week, you always have to be humble because at the end of the day, you know, we've all been to that dance. We know how hard it is, and we know what degree of luck and preparation is involved. So you can prepare for as long as you want. And then on that particular day, you just don't have a great performance, or somebody has a better performance, or you get hurt. So I always take that in a grain of salt. But there was a point where, I couldn't watch the medal ceremony for like 2 years. I was like on a
Yeah, I bet.
plane. I was going somewhere, and they start playing the medal ceremony for somebody else. Like, and I start crying because, like, I couldn't. You know,
Yeah,
you start remembering all the things and the people that helped you and all that sort of stuff. Um,
I had a
but it was, you know, it was
I heard.
interesting. You look out into the stands and you see your friends. I saw Coach Moreno, and then you see a couple of different looks on people's faces. And I always like to talk about this because it kind of tells you a little bit about people. So when you win, there are people that look at you and they're so happy for you, you can see it in their face. Then there are other people who look at you and they're looking at you like, oh, not him, right? Because it's not them,
Yeah,
or you're the last disaster of a nightmare they want. And I won't mention whose face I saw that on, who still I know to this
I
day.
know.
And then there was one guy who, you know, and Coach Moreno was on the positive side, of course, but there was a guy who had nothing but love in his heart, and that was Dae Sung Lee. Like Dae Sung Lee, I looked out at him, and you that guy was so happy because he had spent so many years trying to get me to be a regular human being and keep me out of trouble and not let me be who I was and try to teach me about the culture of Taekwondo the way he saw it. But when I won, this guy, man, nothing but pure joy in his heart. Like, and that was the one thing, you know, you can say about Dae Sung he was, he truly loved the sport, loved the people that did it. He loved Taekwondo, right? So, you know, it's an
Hey,
interesting conversation.
I, I like how you mentioned like you never know what could happen on that day. Blah blah blah. I TJ. You know who Marcus Spears is? You know who Marcus Spears is? He played.
No.
He was. He played for the Cowboys. He's a
Okay, okay,
lineman for
okay.
the Cowboys. But he's on
Okay.
like first take. And his son right now is the number one basketball recruit in the country. And he's like 6'3", 6'6". I'm sorry. He's a football player, but his son's a basketball player. And he said something really cool today. It kind of reminded you of what you just said, Young. He said, "I always, I'm so thankful for my son. I'm so proud of what he's doing. Me and his mom." He's like, but I told him it's only rented, it's not owned. So you
There
got to
you
put in the
go.
work every day.
There
And when
you
he
go.
said that, I was like, that is such a good little statement. Like,
Yep.
like we go to so many events right now, and this victory or success is so short lived. It's
Yep.
not owned. You know what I mean? It's rented because next time out you could get scraped. Or vice versa. Your loss or your demoralizing performance could change. So
Yep.
I really like that. I'm going to use that from now on. It's
I
not
like I
it's
like
not
that.
owned.
That's a
It's
great
rented.
saying. Yeah, because like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you got to remember, like, if you're fortunate enough, like we all have been at some point, to be the best at something somewhere, whether it's nationally, internationally, or, you know, in the world, then that lasts for that moment. And then, you know,
Yeah.
2 weeks later, a month later, a year later, 2 years later, 4 years later, it's somebody else, unless it's you
I
again. And
know.
that's hard for it to be you. So just, you know, you can say, I was the best at this thing for this period of time, and that's why you should handle it well. In other words,
Yeah.
be generous, handle it well, help people, treat people correctly. You know, there was a guy well, you knew this because you were around. There was a guy that walked into the room. They had just won the world championships, three of them, first time ever in the history of our sport from the United States. And then the guy walks into the cafeteria and goes, "World champion in the room." And I like the guy, but when I heard that, I was like, what a dick. What a douchebag. Like,
Yeah.
you know, where are you now, by the way? What you're not is an Olympic
Yeah.
champion. I know that. And so might be nice that yeah, world champion was in the room. That was the
That was
day.
kind of weird.
That was weird. But that was the culture of that individual. That was the culture of that family. And that was the culture. And that's the thing that came back to bite them. Because the one thing that is absolutely true, treat people nicely and well on the way up, because you're going to be on the way down, and you're going to they're going to remember how you treated them on the way up, my friend. So just
Yep.
be generous. So
Yeah,
it's a hard.
I know. I know you guys. I know Coach Randall. I know you know my story too. It's the same thing for me. I think that was the biggest thing. Like part of Taekwondo used to be staying healthy because we all know that injuries with setbacks and all that stuff to be able to be at those chances. That's why I said that moment had to be so special for you to make it to the Olympic
Mm.
Games and not only get to the Olympic podium and be obviously we're all been on the podium, but to be in that first place, just knowing that like all the obstacles actually went into it, all the ups and the downs. I mean, Coach Reno knows. I mean, we went through 2 knee surgeries before getting to the Olympic Games in 2012 when I was out there with them.
Yeah,
It was
you
shaky
but you were
ground,
a
and
great
I was lucky
athlete.
enough to
Like
have people
you
around me.
had, like, and I say this all the time because we met you way back, way when we did those original ID camps, and you were a great athlete with a lot of speed, a lot of ability, a lot of knowledge, and then great coaches on the way up. And then the things that you can't control, you can control your body, you can control your athleticism, you can control your strength, you can control your durability, you can control your mental perseverance, determination, patience. But the things you can't control to a great degree, if you control all the rest of that and you get injured, you can't control that. So, like, that's where
Yeah,
humble comes in because at any moment, you can have an injury that prevents you from being the person you want to be. Dr. Stephen Capener is a
yeah,
perfect example. Arguably one of the better lightweights ever in the sport, knowledge wise, ability wise, hurt his knees and got to a place where right before the Olympic Games, where he should have won, he was better than the guy that went and more knowledgeable and better athlete. He was told not to go because they wouldn't let him win because of his knees, and he still laments about it. But he was tall, he was flexible, he was fast, but the most important part, he had trained with Kim Se-yuk, so he was good. Um, but anyway, like the list of my friends around me who have had those moments where they haven't been able to realize their dream because of injury or circumstance and stuff like that is long. So, just
It's
like
sport.
go through life, yeah. Go through
It's
life
sport.
being
sport.
humble. Like there's this guy that
Yeah.
just died. I didn't realize who he was. And then he was originally supposed to be the lead singer in Led Zeppelin. They went to him, and I
Mm.
know it's a different thing. And they said, "Hey, we want you to do this," and he said, "No, let this other guy do it," who ended up being Robert Plant. Then a second time, Deep Purple comes to him, which is another huge rock band, and asks him to be the lead singer. And he says, "No, let this other guy do it, Ian Gillian." And so he goes through his entire life being arguably, and in the words of others, one of the best singers, soulful and everything. So I like looked up all his stuff now because he just passed away. But at each moment where he was given the opportunity, he chose a different path, right? So he was like, no, I'm going to do this other thing. So he had a good career.
Wow.
He produced a bunch of people. Yeah, but like, think about it. You're
I don't know
given,
about that
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Think about it. You're given an
guy.
opportunity. Somebody comes to you and they say,
Don't take
TJ,
that guy's
they
financial
come they
advice.
come to you and they say, "Hey, we got this band we want you to be in. We want you to be in this band. It's Menudo, right? And you're going to be the first non-Puerto Rican in Menudo, right?" Says, "Look at Juan, he fell out." So and you go, "No, I'm good, man. I'm gonna stay over here. I'm gonna go join the army." And you could have been in Menudo. You could have been the lead singer in Menudo. Come patele, come. Anyway, I know I see you're laughing, but I was going to say
Okay.
boys to men, but then that would have been, I think, slightly racist, maybe slightly, and I didn't, I don't want to get
I would have
canceled.
taken Boys the Mid over Menudo. Is that a real
Me
group?
too.
Do you remember Menudo? Do you
Menudo is,
remember Menudo?
but
Isn't
Menudo's a
that like
funny.
a? Isn't that what does that mean? Isn't that like pig intestines or something like
No,
that? Is that
Menudo
a
It's a
type of
soup.
means
soup?
it's a soup. Yeah,
But there's a group.
but it was
Hey,
the
let's
rule in
change.
Menudo was you could be in Menudo till you were 15, and then after
Yeah,
15, and you know who one of the famous Menudo guys was? Name the guy that is currently a guy became famous
Ricky Martin.
afterwards. Ricky Martin. Yeah, he
Ricky
was in
Martin.
Menudo.
Oh,
So TJ, you could
really?
have been in Menudo.
Could
Nah,
have
too
been.
young.
I chose to
Too
stick
old.
around and hang out with you guys for a bit.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, change subjects. A little bit of a personal note, and I don't know if you know TJ. This is a little sad. Is one of my former athletes who actually won the Youth Olympic Games gold medal. Um, Kendall Yount, her father passed away last week, and it's
Oh,
Oh,
I'm sure they don't listen to our podcast, but there's a lot of people that do listen to our podcast that will know who Kendall is. Kendall came from an ATA background. She's from Kentucky, and her father and mother brought her to peak performance, and we coached her all over the place, and she ended up winning a gold medal at the Olympic Games, the Youth Olympic Games, the first one ever for the United States, and actually, I think the only one. Has anybody else won a gold medal for the Youth Olympic Games, TJ? I don't think so.
I don't think gold.
Not
What
gold,
about
but anyway.
did Anastasia get one?
Oh, she sure did. No, Anastasia got silver. I believe
Hmm.
she got silver. Anyway, I mean, regardless,
Well,
Mr. Yao,
thoughts and prayers
I
going out
spent,
to that
yeah,
family for sure. Hey, TJ, on
Yeah,
super
for sure.
a
supportive family.
slightly other note, I see you made a little request of me in the chat. Is that what you want me to do? Would you like me to? And then is that balcony? Is that like a black balcony? What does that stand for? You made a little
It is.
request for
It's
me in the
they're
chat. Would you like me to do that?
they're
Is that
only
what you're hoping for, or is that a
the,
private video you want me to send later?
you can send it later,
All
sir.
right, I'll
And
send it
that is
later. All right,
it's a
I can.
beach balcony.
Well, I'm a
Hey,
little high up in the world, so I can, I won't. Nobody will see me.
It looks
TJ,
beautiful. It looks beautiful.
hey, I know you don't know a whole lot about it, Young, but let's talk about this under 21 real fast. I got the list of the athletes and go through it. We
Hmm.
can kind of maybe make some selections. So, so this weekend we have an Olympic weight category tournament. Young, we have four males and
Mm.
four females. United States only qualified two men, TJ, and
Yeah,
two
yeah.
women,
68 and 80.
and then
68 and
50
80.
and then 49 and 57. Did you get three or
Yes.
two?
Two. And the reason
Okay,
that's important, I think, because if it goes through the way it's set up right now, that person that gets the gold medal at the Olympic Games will go directly to the Olympics, right? I mean, at the
no, no.
Pan Am Games. Pan Am Games,
So
correct?
Young,
Not
this
this one.
this
Not this one.
so this if you win a gold medal here in the under 22, you get to go to the Pan Am Games. So your country could possibly have two people, but you get to go direct. If you win the Pan Am Games the year before the Olympics, theoretically, supposedly, the PAT2 president has said that's going to be a direct entry into the Olympic Games. I don't know if it's doable. I don't know if it's true. I've heard some different things, but right now, if you win the Pan Am Games, you go to the Olympic Games. That's what's been said. And then what they do to the continental qualifiers, you only get one person qualify, one person before you get two, first and second. So it's very controversial. We're going to see, but this is part of that system. I think something else interesting enough is that I'm sad that this country didn't qualify enough people. They didn't qualify every division. They should have
I think you almost
easily.
had to.
You almost had to, but I don't think we took it serious. It was
No.
individually funded, and again, another misstep by the organization, in my opinion. We can talk about that later, but let's
So
talk about
who are the
the
two
people.
men?
There's a 68, which is my athlete, Michael Rodriguez.
Oh, nice.
Um, and well, yes. And then 80, Cameron. What's Cameron's last name?
I
Okay,
can't
I
think of
got
his
it.
last name.
I
But
got
he's
it
an
right.
80,
But
yeah.
yeah, and then for women, there's a 49, which is Maya Mata, and a 57, which is Montana Miller. I don't know the M&M girls,
Yeah, you could have
Maya
took
Mata.
all four Olympic divisions basically per country. You could have had one for 49, 57. All the girl to 67 and then plus 67. I guess my thing is the goal would have been to get as many people there as possible if this even comes to fruition. I know a lot of other countries took it a little serious, and
So
qualified
what
multiple
happens if, let's
people.
say, hypothetically, these two men win? Then they go to where do they go
They,
next?
What to
Pan
Oh,
Am
they go
Games.
to the actual Pan Am Games.
So what is this event called?
This is the under 21 Pan Am Games, like the
Oh,
youth
It's a
Pan
under
Am
mul-
Games,
21 Pan Am
basically.
Games.
Multi-sport.
yeah, it's multi-sport. It's a multi-sport game. So
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 what
anyway,
if
let's
these two guys go to the actual Pan Am Games and then win? What happens next?
Then
theoretically they go
if
to the
it
Olympics.
yeah
And so does that mean that nobody else from the U.S. and men's division gets to go?
Great question.
Because
yeah.
Great
So
what
there's a
question.
lot
Yeah.
of
happens
like
to
question
where's
marks
CJ in the mix? Why is his name not on this list?
Well, he's too old.
because he's over 21. He can't
Oh,
go
he's
through this
over
system. He's over 21.
21.
Right. You have to be under 21 to
But
qualify for the
but
juniors.
Oh,
but
But we'll
that's a
interesting.
still get to send for the Pan Am Games qualification. We'll still get to send a full team to qualify. So potentially you'll have two USA people, two USA people in 68 and two in 80. But the other divisions there will only be one. But most some of these other countries are going to show up to that event if it goes the way that it's been set with multiple people in the same division. So they'll have a little bit more of a chance of people qualifying that spot. And I would guess. I would guess it'll be, if that's the case and that's the route they go, you think it'll be by name, correct? Like the person that wins that Pan Am Games
It
by
would have to
name
be
will
by
qualify for
name.
the Olympic
Yeah, it's
Games and
got to
not
be
the
by
spot.
name. Yeah, it's got to be
All
by
right.
name or it
I
doesn't
mean, they've
matter.
done that before.
But imagine that again, hypothetically, this kid Cameron goes and wins the Pan Am Games because somebody gets hurt. He has a great day. He develops in 2 years, and then someone like CJ's out.
So
And
I
Yeah,
then
think
it's
there's
a
a
crazy
problem with the
anyway,
system.
quali. You know,
come
just
in.
me speaking, there's a problem with the qualification procedure if that were the states, because um, if you have a, if you had a, well, it may not be, but let's look at it this way. If you had a qualification procedure that was disenfranchising a particular group of athletes based on age or anything
No, but they didn't
else.
do this. It wasn't the organization though. It
No, what I'm
wasn't
saying, it
USAT.
doesn't
This
matter.
was.
It would matter.
Mhm.
Does it? The question becomes, if you said worldwide, whatever, and they find themselves in ICAS, meaning International Court of Arbitration. Somebody makes the argument. They said, I did not have an opportunity to qualify for the Olympics because it became an age-based discrimination. Under
No, but
21 were given preferential treatment, and I couldn't qualify because they took this eight under 21. It sounds like they protected themselves because all they get is a berth at a trials. You know what I mean?
Basically,
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
There's
it's
there's still a regular Pan American Games qualification event, so you would have a chance both
and in the
domestically
games,
and
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So,
so you've got the
but
Pan Am under 21 Pan Am multi-sport games. You got the Pan Am qualifier for the Olympics, regional qualifier, and then you got the
No, for
Pan Am
the you'll have
Games.
you'll have the under 21. Then you'll have the Pan Am qualification for the Pan Am Games, and then you'll
What
have the
is
Pan
that?
Am Games
What
and
is that?
what you have to qualify to. It's like the normal process. Like you send a team to qualify for the Pan Am Games.
How is
Like
that
you
yeah,
don't
there's
normal?
no
just go
direct.
to the games.
There
There's
was
no
ne-
direct.
there,
You have to
there's
like
never been. There was never. That's changed then because Pan Am Games were 45 countries. Is that no longer the case?
no,
No, no.
no,
You got
It's
to
a
not the
qualify to
qualification
go to
event
Pan
now
Am
games.
Games.
Yeah,
Oh,
since 2009.
wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
a long
yeah.
time. That's all I've known.
It's not easy because all the games are too big now. They can't just let everybody in. So that was the top 16. So, but anyway, let's go through this. Let's run through this list of athletes. So let's start with the women. 49. I'm going to give you the countries by order, their ranking. 49, you have Brazil, USA, Mexico, Paraguay, Canada, Guatemala, Colombia, and Uruguay. So obviously, there's going to be a quarterfinal matchup between, I'm sorry, semifinal matchup between USA and Mexico. That's with Maya. And, there's, I think, if I had to guess, I would think that one, two, or three of those would win the gold medal: Brazil, USA, or Mexico. Um, I don't know if you
Yeah,
know
that's a
much
little
about
tight
them.
division.
It is
I don't.
tight.
I'm not. I was able to coach at a couple of those games. I mean, for me, obviously, I would love to see Maya get through that bracket. I think she's on a side with. Trying to look at it
Yeah.
right now. It's opening. She's on the Mexico side. That'll be a
Yep.
match. She'll have to fight Colombia first. I don't. Can't remember. I think we fought the Colombian girl. I can't remember. And then obviously you got Brazil from the top, and it's number one, right? You have to win.
Yeah.
It's the only the winner of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, me personally, I'm pulling for number two, which is Maya Amada in that situation. I know she's had some good. I think she's fought most of these girls before, but it'll be interesting to see because I think those divisions, as that process went on, got a little tough.
Yep.
As those three terms went on, it got a little tough. So, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, if I had to pick one, I would pick Maya. I do think that the Brazilian girl Camille is not. She's had some really good turns. To be honest, the last couple have been a little rough for her. So,
She's ranked number one, right?
um, yeah, she is ranked number one. So
So she's got to be doing pretty well.
they'll be in the finals. They'll be in the finals.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's see. I think the 57 is a little interesting because you got number one Mexico, two Brazil, three USA, Paraguay, Peru, Panama, and Puerto Rico. And I'm telling you what,
Puerto
the Puerto Rican girls
Rico, Puerto Rico.
not
Sorry.
bad, but the Mexican girl was undefeated in that series. She didn't lose to anybody.
I was
She's
always
not
so
bad.
shocked by her. You might, Grandmaster, you might like her because she was a little. For me, she was a little bit more old school. A lot of back leg stuff.
Mm.
A lot of motion movement stuff. I think she put those girls in a. I don't know. They all looked a little confused when they're in front of her, and I think she had a couple close rounds, but like definitely dominant in that 57 division throughout that series. So I think she's going to be tough to declass. And I think at the bottom you have Brazil at the other side too. Again, I didn't watch the 57 girls division if you know much about it.
Yeah, if I had to pick right now, I'd pick the Mexican girl just based on what she did to all them heads up. Montana Miller has a lot of talent, and she has
Uh,
these moments where I think she's really successful, and then other times I'm just kind of like, yikes, I'm not sure what happened. So if I had to pick, I would pick the Mexican girl. I'd pick
yeah,
the
yeah,
Mexican girl.
definitely. She has the size. I mean, Montana has the
Yeah,
size for that division. I think she's like long in fight, but like I said, that Mexican girl, watching her through that series was kind of cool because I mean she was doing some stuff and like being consistent and calm throughout all those matches, you know. So it's definitely
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Definitely on that side, I think it's heavy for Mexico.
It's crazy. So in 67, you have Ecuador, Mexico, Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Honduras, Bolivia, and Cuba. I know I sound like a front runner right now, but the Ecuador girl's not bad at all. Not bad at all. I was really impressed with her. Um, and I didn't know much about her, but one other coach that I work with in Brazil was telling me about her. So we were looking at her matches. I'm like, geez, where did this girl come from? So she's not bad. I see Cuba in there. I didn't watch any
I
of
was
the
about to
67.
say
I
I
don't
was about to
know.
say every time I see Cuba on the brackets, I'm always interested because those they I know they don't come out that often, but they come out for events like this to kind of like the
Yeah,
pathways to the Olympic Games and stuff. So they always
yeah,
show with some interesting athletes. You know what I mean? Some
yeah,
interesting
yeah.
athletes, some wild card athletes, and I mean she's sitting at number. She's at the bottom number. She's number 8, so she'll fight.
Hey,
She'll fight number
Ecuador.
one first. So
Yes,
we've
could be
seen
an
that story
upset.
before.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's tough matches early, right?
that's right.
So.
That's right. That's right.
Wild card number 8, front runner. I again, I didn't watch 67, so I pull for Cuba.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to plus. Why isn't it let me do this? Plus 67 is gonna be our girl, Ava Sue
Oh
Lee. Ava
yeah,
Lee.
yeah, she's done well in that division
So
consistently at that weight. Well, hold
yeah,
on, let me
Who's
open
and
she
it.
competing for?
Haiti. I
So
think
Haiti.
she's
that got all
Haiti.
sorted out, or is the USAT going to do its usual?
Nah, it's all sorted out now. They
Yeah.
tried. They took their shot, but I think she's gonna be in the final with Mexico or Cuba. I think Mexico fights on the senior national team for Mexico, and they've had a couple battles, and Ava's gotten the better of her, which always makes it tough. But
Maybe
I
there's
think
three. Coach, I'm looking at the bracket. I don't know if it's miswritten, but there's another USA girl. Look at number
there is just
7.
yeah, I see it right there. Yeah,
But I
so
didn't see her in the picture. Or maybe I
I'm
did
not.
see her and I thought it was a Pumse girl.
Yeah, I think she did get in. So, but
Yeah,
that's weird
I thought it
because
was a Pumse girl.
that's weird because they have 9 people instead of 8. That's strange.
They do have 9.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Yeah,
why.
that's weird, huh?
Yeah, but we're gonna pick. I'm going with
But maybe
I'm going
it's
with
the U.S. Pumse thing all over again. They moved up to number 9.
No, but
Yo,
that's a
but
weird
50,
one.
yeah, 58 is gonna be nasty. 58
Let
is
me
gonna
go
be
58,
nasty,
hold please. Oh,
bro.
I'm sad we
Let,
don't have a 58. I'm just gonna go out there on a limb and say that.
uh,
I
listen,
think we should have a 58 in that mix. We have too much young talent under 21 at 58 to not have a 58 in this process.
How did they qualify
so
for this?
they
So
had a
there was a
circuit.
series. Go ahead, go ahead, go. You got it.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, you got it. I'm looking for this other thing. Go ahead.
They had a series of tournaments in the Pat two, and
Oh,
they had a ranking. They had 4 of them. You had to compete. First, they were supposed to have 5, but they ended up having 4. You had to compete in 3 out of the 4, and you got points for gold, silver, bronze, so on, etc. And so that's how they have their ranking and their seating right now. So 58 is nasty. Mexico, Colombia, Chile, Paraguay, Brazil, Argentina, Peru, and Ecuador. All are good. The Mexican boy is very good. The Colombian boy is good. Hey, Chile is nasty. Our Brazil boy is good. That's the division to watch. That's the division to
58.
watch. And 58. So the hard part about that is like our Brazil kid will have to fight Carlos Cortez in the semis, and then you're probably gonna have Colombia and Chile fight in the other semifinals. So, dude, that's a good one. I if we can,
I Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like we got a lot of talent. There should our one of our 58 should be in there for sure. For sure, for sure. I know
unfortunately,
it was
unfortunately,
self-funded
none of
and all that stuff,
unfortunately
but
none of our 58s are going to beat these guys right now. I really don't believe, and that's no shot. I'm just
really.
telling you, these guys are who which one's going to beat Cortez? Which one's going to beat these guys? I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it
That
within the
Cortez kid,
consistency.
he's the Pan Am, he's the kid that won what's it called? The cadet world championships multiple times or something like that. or that's
His
brother or
brother.
something.
His brother won two. I don't know if he won one. His brother won two. Yeah, he's good too.
Gotcha.
But this kid's
Yeah,
good.
I'm excited. I'm excited. It's Friday morning, correct?
Yeah, it's tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock our time.
Oh, it's
Oh, we'll
happening
be
now.
there. Should we just hop on
A
hop on a
live
call and
stream.
watch it live?
Yeah.
Shoot,
Yeah,
I'm
When
there
is it? What
for
time?
it's
it's
8
8 a.m.
a.m.
here. I
for
don't know what
us.
time that is for you.
8
It'll
a.m.
be
for
like two
you
o'clock
is
in the morning.
like 2 o'clock. Yeah, I'll watch it if you send me a note.
Yeah, right.
Should we
You're
do it?
good.
Yeah,
Nah,
I'll watch it from my bed.
too early.
Nah.
It'll be a
Oh,
good
2
bedtime.
a.m.
It'll be a good
a.m.
bedtime.
Jeez.
I like watching Olympic style taekwondo. It puts me to sleep. Like I hit that. Usually I can watch about a round, then I go right to bed.
You're gonna be converted one day. It's okay. I'll keep working on
Yeah, I'm
you.
gonna
There's
convert.
something to
Yeah,
be watched.
yeah, I'm gonna convert. I'm gonna,
All
yeah.
right, coach. 68.
68. It's our kid Michael. I mean, Michael's obviously the front runner. I mean, this is his tournament to lose. I mean, he shouldn't lose. He should win first place. The semifinal on the other side is going to be Brazil and Chile. Our Brazil kid is nasty, but the Chile kid is super smart and very technical. So, man, just a match I gotta see. But there's a dark horse in there. And he's from Panama. His name is Ian Romero. He's number five. So 4 or 5 fight in the quarterfinal, and then the winner fights Michael. That Romero, he lives and trains in Mexico. Michael knows him very well. The kid's tough. The kid's strong. He's big. He's not as smart as Michael, but he's a gamer. So it's going to be an interesting, semifinal fight for him. But that final, oof, that's going to be a pretty high level. I'm going to think for some reason. I think the
So who's
Chile
in the
kid could
finals?
Michael and Chile.
That's kind of a matchup that's become like the classic matchup this under 21 series. They've had some good fights back and forth throughout this series. So
And and
definitely,
and
I don't know. I'm always excited about 68.
but let me preface this. I'm telling you, the Brazil boy is nasty, dude. His legs are like he's a tough dude, tough kid. Oh my gosh,
We almost made it out alive.
Look at that Nottingham Crescent, baby. You know this song, right?
of course.
Coach,
All
coach,
right,
this
just
is how bored
checking.
he gets when we talk Taekwondo. This is how bored he gets when we talk Taekwondo. He just loses his mind.
Okay,
All right, all right. I apologize.
Jesus
I'll stop now.
Christ,
We were so close. It was so
so
Go
close.
ahead.
close.
Let me stop the share. All right, we're
Yeah,
No,
I
back.
but
think
what?
I think that final will be good. What's the first? Who fights on the first day? Is it Feather first day?
58-68.
Oh my God, both days, both good to his first day, starting at 8
Yes.
a.m. It's on Pan Am
Yeah.
Sports, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
send you the
I'll
link.
be here. Send me
Dude,
the link. I will be here.
80.
I wonder if we
Come
got to
on.
pay rights on that now that I just played that. I hope not. All right, good.
Oh man, Cameron fighting my boy. Sorry, he's got a tough draw. So in
I
in
can't
80
get
is
to
gonna
it.
be is our guy Brazil. He's an Olympian. This he's really good. I mean he's a man. So he's gonna fight USA first match. I think he should win pretty pretty easily,
Who? The
in my opinion.
Brazilian or the USA kid?
No, the Brazil kid should win the whole thing. I mean
Oh,
he's legit good. He's the guy that fights with CJ and beat CJ multiple times in
mm,
Korea. He's legit. So
uh,
Um, I see him doing pretty well there. I mean, I don't know what you think, TJ, but that's
Nah, I'm honestly, I think he runs away with that division. Like, let's be honest. I mean, like you said, I think it's the what you just said about Michael too in 68. This is his division to go win.
yeah,
He's been very even the time he's been very professional throughout the whole the series, the ones that I watched him. I think he's had some tough spots, tough matches just because of yeah, and I give it like it's hard to go from Olympic Games and qualifying back to an under 21 system, and he still did it, I think, unbroken. And so
yeah,
this is his tournament to go win, and it's interesting that opens up the door. Like again, back to this whole thing, potentially having two 80s at the Pan Am Games
yeah. We
from
probably
Brazil. You know
Brazil
what I
probably
mean?
will. Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, they got some big guys over there. They got some big guys, a lot of talent. You know what I mean? And I think oddly enough, every time I see the room, I see the people that train with the groups consistently. 80s an interesting spot because you got the 87s, you got the 80s, you got the set. There's a lot of people, and all those boys are big and long, and
Hey,
like
what if
they
what if
they like
Brazil
it.
what if Brazil sent Nicino in 74? He's fighting 74, and he just says, you know what? I'll go qualify at 80. and now we got
It's the
Nicino,
same
and then
thing.
he, dude, that would be nasty
Yeah,
at the Pan Am
it'd be
Games.
interesting. Yeah, it'd be
Would be.
interesting. But there's a lot of movement, a lot of movement. Did
I
we
can't
already go
open the.
through?
I can't
Yeah, I
get the
can't get to
heavyweight
it
open.
either.
I don't know
I
why.
can't to it.
Well,
It won't
we'll get
slide
back
over
there.
on my phone.
Me neither. Well,
Yeah.
listen, it's going to be a good event. I'm I'm excited about the initiative. I'm excited about the under 21 World Championships because you get all these unknown variables of these young kids, and I think it's going to be really awesome to see them fight. So, but 50 and 68 are going to be nasty the first day. I think it's going to be good.
8 a.m.
Very
tomorrow
good.
morning.
8 a.m. I'll be watching.
I think I like this idea, right, of creating pathways for the youngers to get the experience. Although I'm not going to say that 21 is younger. Like I think 21 is
Yeah.
way too old. Like I think 18 and under, maybe 17 and under. Like by the time you're 18, um, you're already in the mix, right? Like it is what it is. And the age of the it'd be interesting. You guys know this better than I do. With the exception of Coach Moreno, our age. How old were you at the games, TJ?
26.
26. I was 32. I was supposed to be 28 had I gone 4 years earlier. Coach Moreno was like 12. And then the second games, he was 16. And he couldn't
I
drive
feel it.
or
I feel
drink,
it.
and or certainly not do either of those two things at the same time. But
Under
he was
21 is a weird number. I think you're right because, like I said, when we were talking about it last, I think last episode, the under 24, it was 24 was considered young then. Like you hadn't made the national team by 24, and like
yeah.
that was that's where it started. I think now it's supposed to be way lower, but 21, it kind of goes against the whole thing because 21, they're starting to say people are getting towards their last Olympic cycle, right? Like the end is 21, 22 in some
Really?
divisions. The rollovers have, it's happening quick. You're seeing a lot of success, maybe from the smaller divisions too, but also a lot of success earlier on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. I wonder.
Oh,
I wonder when the physical. So we always talk about this, and it's a conversation for another day, maybe. But the athletic and the intellectual sport IQ curve, right? So a good coach maximizes the time that your social and your sport IQ meet along with your athletic curve, because most of us we have an athletic curve, and that's what I'm going to ask the question about, but our sport IQ continues to grow, right? So your sport IQ goes like this, and this is way back from when we started the coaching program for USA Taekwondo. Thank you. Still waiting for that basket to say thank you for that. The When we created it, the idea was to get those two things to meet sooner by having good coaches coach them so that they would. So, in your humble opinion and experienced opinions, what is the athletic peak of a Taekwondo athlete? What is that from what age to what age?
Mm.
well, I think it depends on different weight categories because obviously heavyweight you can peak a lot later, right?
Okay.
Because you can mature physically. And I think 82, but I think for 68 and 68 and 58, I'm just talking about Olympic weight categories.
Mm,
I'm gonna say physical peak, just because this is. Let me take into consideration how much these guys fight now, young. Like if I just said it just naturally, I say, oh, 22,
mm,
somewhere,
mm.
as a little mature man. But nowadays, these guys compete so much. I'm gonna say 18 to 20
Wow.
Peak
physical peak, and after that,
Mm.
physical
they
peak.
just have too many. Their knees, their ankles, their arms,
Really?
they're nicked up.
That's
They're
crazy.
That's
way up
crazy.
and down. I know that's pretty
Yeah.
early, but that's what I feel.
TJ, what
I
do you
feel that's
think?
your peak.
I'm somewhere close to him. I mean, 20's a eye opener to me because I know he's not wrong and I get exactly where he's coming from. But I think I would hope to. I would say physical peak when you take an accountability, like because the competition, everything. I think how kids still have to learn to train and learn to develop, and they start their strength and conditioning programs and all that stuff. I still say about 22, 23,
Really?
somewhere in there. Yeah, just because I think after that point, like 24s, from what it looks like, that turnover rate of how many kids were getting into the system from these
Mm.
other countries, and some of these other countries pools are huge. I think most of their guys are. I think they're big guys, the ones we like, oh, that's the man right now. They're 23, 24, and then they're gone.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
like that number,
I guess
TJ.
that's
I like that
the
number.
system tells it, right? The system will tell you what it is because I don't think I peaked. I think I peaked 27,
Yeah, you guys.
26, and
It was
then
way later
yeah, and then I
back then.
peaked. I obviously peaked at 32, but
But you know
like
what?
I think athletically, 26, 27, I was crazy fast, crazy, whatever, and then I was
I guess that's
able
a
to
twisted question
maintain it to
because what is
32.
athletic development like as far as
Well,
like
what about a
what
Steven
is
Lopez? Not to bring up the dead, but uh, when do you think
yeah
Steven peaked?
I don't know Steven's age at the time, but I would go by Olympic cycle. But uh, we'll talk. But TJ, don't forget your question because I know where you're
okay
going, and I like that. I think so. For example, for me, Steven peaked in 2004. 2004, Steven just was, and he had gone up weight category, right? He went from 68 to 80. He went to the welterweight division.
When did you
He
peak?
was faster.
When did you peak?
When did I peak? You know what? I'm gonna say hey, I peaked after my Olympic Games. I think I think I was like I'm going to go back. I quit in '92 after my second games, and I remember, again, I was losing weight, so I wasn't healthy. But I
Yeah.
remember in like '95 going to like the Olympic Festival. I remember doing seven. Dude, I could fight anybody. I just felt strong, fast. I could take shots. I could give shots. That was probably, so if I was in '95, let's see, I was 20 at the last Olympic Games. 21. So 24, 25,
I don't think I
26.
peaked at 32. I think I peaked at 30. I could have fought the world championships in the following year in Madison Square Garden. I don't think I peaked physically. I didn't feel like I peaked at 32. I think I peaked later, like 30, but I was training. See, and that's what I asked the question for, because I think it's how you train, what you train. And then there's just a physical diminishment. That's why the Lopez thing, and you are interesting studies because you had a 12-year cycle of Olympic level competition, right? Like 88 through 2000, right? TJ, when do you think you peaked? What was your last games and how old were you?
when my only games last games was 2012.
And how old were you?
26 years old.
And how did you
26.
feel?
I felt, and it's funny. I think that was my peaking point for the build up to the event,
Mm,
to the follow up. I think a few things. I think right after 2012, the game started to change a little bit, and it was a whole
mm,
nother learning curve when we go back to the height and length and all that stuff and all that good stuff. But I think then I'll say 2012, and I think I had a really good feeling about the game and everything around 2015 when we went to that World Championship. I end up losing the quarterfinals to Servette, but I think that day
oh,
was kind of
Jesus. Yeah.
yeah, I know. That day was kind of a. I felt good that day. I felt strong that day. I don't even think like I said, I think that was it. So I would
Yeah,
say
that cat's a
2012, and I
freak. I
think I
mean,
had a
it's hard to judge yourself a performance against a guy like that because that guy's just nuts, right?
nah, nah. I think he was great. I think he was good. I think we
Yeah.
were a good matchup. I think both of us stood in the middle and were willing to exchange with each other.
Yeah.
I got unlucky in some of the exchange. He had the ability to spin like no other, and then with the rewards of all the bonus points and the little toe touches, it's kind of changed the game for him in a good way.
Mm.
And he was brave enough to continue to fight that way. That was the thing that made him special.
That
He
was
didn't
James
really go away
Viasana,
from his
man.
style.
That was James
Yeah,
Viasana. Like he just did stuff that other
yeah,
Yeah,
people were unwilling to think to try to do. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's an
yeah. So I think
interesting
2012,
conversation as far as
2012.
that you guys have that so young, like a 20, like I think about soccer, right? Or I think about, well, football's different because the amount of contact, right? And I think that's why this is an interesting conversation because these days, with the amount of, dude, this is like a little hoodlum bird that looks like he got roughed up in some sort of bar fight.
He's
Look
about
at,
to turn his
I don't know
camera
if you
on.
guys can see that. Let me get the bird.
We absolutely cannot see that.
Let me go closer. He'll probably run away when I go, but I want you to see. Oh, he
Jesus.
left.
well, he
Dude,
won't
he
run
looked
away. He
like he
might
got
fly
into
away.
a fight with a Hawaiian bird and got his ass beat.
Yeah.
But
I guess what I was gonna say real quick was about the when you talk about when did you peak athletic wise. I don't think it's, dude. I'm gonna say most of these kids aren't peaking athleticism wise. I don't think the game condones them having to peak athleticism wise. I don't think it's
mm,
as important. I think I had to peak because I was fighting men of men who were strong and fast and aggressive and have been around for a while, and this is earlier when I was trying to make the teams and everything. As far as like I said, I think I had a few peaking points to even make the national team. Back then was a peaking point to even make the Olympic Games. Through that process was a peaking point. I think I had a few in my career that kind of stood out, but I don't really think the importance of. I don't think most of these kids peak athletic. I don't see anyone like. There's a few of them. There's a few people I'd be like, I don't think this kid's gonna get any faster or stronger at this point. So then
Mm.
it has to be on an intelligent wise. But I don't really think it's important. I don't really think it's viewed as important anymore.
That's listen, 100% correct. And to be honest with you, you don't need to be explosive. You don't need to be extremely fast. You don't need to be extremely tough. You don't need to be extremely durable. And you can still become Olympic champion, which I'm not sure what that says. Now, the ones that can, of course, they're better. But I think that it's hard to judge these days because you see, first of all, for whatever we can debate this all till the end of time. To master the game in another era took an extremely long time.
Yeah.
To have that feel, to have that timing, to have the steps. Nowadays, people can just skip so much of what we had to do, and so they get better faster.
So what
And,
does
and
that
it's
say?
it's
But
it's
when you think
weird.
about what you just said,
I
because
know,
like the
I know.
whole lead up of what you said was interesting, and that's a conversation for another day. But then the other part, which you said, which is even more interesting, is you can master the tools for this game in a short period of time based on bio biomarkers of how you are as an athlete, right? Like if you're tall, skinny, flexible, whatever. And you don't really necessarily need to be explosive. And then I watch all these TikTok, Wick Walk, Instagram guys training. They're on their knees, then they jump up, jump on a stair, and then do an up ball, right? And I'm like, so I watch all of this and I go, okay, I get it. How does it really? We would have done that as part of our strength training. Not that we would ever do that particular drill, but we did plyometrics and stuff like that. But the athleticism of what we had to do was one component of it. But you're right on the intellectual component. It took us years, and I don't think I actually ever learned enough years to master the craft of the strategic components of Taekwondo, which was stepping, counters, combinations, defense and offensive situations so that you could build a repository of knowledge to pull from. So when you got into this situation, X would do this, you would do this, and then you do this. And it was so it took us a long time. And that's what, when we always talk about this, although I joke now, this is not the joke part. This is where I see it lacking, right? And I watched this clown, this ass clown who won like one national championship, put a video out, and they get on my feed somehow, and he's describing what he thinks Taekwondo fighting is, and he's anointed himself as the king of Taekwondo. And I love these guys because he's a Korean kid, never won anything, New York accent, doesn't matter, but he's anointed himself king of Taekwondo. He puts all this stuff, and I know you two guys like him, and I'm not going
Mm.
to mention his name. But when I see it, I just go, and most people comment and just go, "What an ass clown." But that's the level of knowledge you have to have. Like if you go, okay, if they lift their leg, you cancel their leg, and here's how you do a front leg hook kick to the body. And then I think you're right on the other side of it. Just to put a finer point on it, I think these kids end up getting hurt knee and joint wise because you can't do all this no matter who you are, unless you're
Mm.
got a certain body type, you can't turn your knees and body and hips in such a way to continue to do that with your body. The amount of impact when you do this weird inside outside crescent kick to the body, your knees aren't designed for that. There's no musculature.
Yeah.
Your abductor adductors don't have the strength to do that.
Again, listen,
Soccer's different. Like soccer, they kick. I don't understand how they
but
kick in
young,
soccer. Yeah.
but I mean, listen, I know we're going in circles on this topic, but the athleticism is different now. But like, I just think everything's getting younger, and there's some outliers. I mean, look at this kid Yamal in Barcelona right now. He's
Yeah.
what 18, 17, and he's psycho good. And then there was Messi was psycho good, and Ronaldo was seven good, psycho good. And then some of these guys play into their 30s, and
Yeah.
they're not the speed demons, but their intellectual ability makes up for their lack
Yeah.
of physicality, and they're still in
Yeah.
good shape. So it's a little hard to say, but all I do know is the Olympic age has gotten so low compared to maybe your era and my era. It's like 18 to 22,
That's
and
it.
there's a few outliers. So,
But do you think
I
it's
mean,
because of what you said though? It's the window and the ability of like the Olympics not being a money based system and the boxers going away early. So the ones that choose to stay kind of get there early at 18, make the Olympic team, maybe take one shot and then they're on to like the pro version or whatever they do. I mean,
yeah,
I know it's not
I
the same
mean,
for most sports, but
listen,
feels
we
that
get,
way.
and there's some countries that are still thriving. You look at Turkey, they're thriving. Italy's on this resurgent. Right now, I mean, America maybe not, so maybe we're losing our people. Maybe we're not keeping people around long enough. Maybe they go hard until they're 16, 17, and they're out afterwards. I don't know, but
Well,
there's a
where's
lot of different
Taekwondo done
factors.
in America? So, like you got to like go back rather than look at the symptom, look at the cause. Taekwondo is taught for life skill development in America in rich pay for play communities, right? And they have this conversation in other sports too. So the average kid that does Taekwondo in this country is not doing it in the hood. He's not in North Carolina
Mm,
choosing between going to the dentist or Taekwondo school. They're doing Taekwondo because their parents brought them there for some reason. Then none of these parents are wandering into like in soccer, basketball, baseball, whatever. Parents
true.
will pick leagues and say, I want my kid to go to a D1 college. I want my kid to go pro. So I'm going to send him to Bolletari's or what IMG or whatever it's called now. And in soccer, they absolutely do that. They're like, I want my kid in a professional MLS academy because that's going to increase his chances of going
But
to a D1 and pro. And
but
so, like,
you
Taekwondo
know,
doesn't have
but
that.
but more to your first point, you said these in all those sports, most of the underprivileged kids that are hungry, that are
Mm,
athletic, that are looking
mm.
for a way out, they
Mm.
enter into those sports. And if they're good enough, they kind of go to the yes. There's some people that are fluent and they can do the same path. But in martial arts, it doesn't happen.
Well,
Nobody,
that's what I'm saying.
very
Where are the
yes,
poor kids in Taekwondo? There are no poor kids.
that's right.
There's no
There isn't.
hoodlum kids, right? Like I was a hoodlum
No,
kid that found Taekwondo and, found a way to pay for it so I could do all this stuff. And like the hood, like, because it doesn't make any sense. And I've said this about pretty much every sport we have. We excel at basketball. We excel at baseball. We excel at football. Well, football's different, but because it is what it is. But we excel at any sport that America chooses to put its muscle behind. We don't excel at soccer, and we could, but I talked to a coach and he said we're still young in soccer. We don't excel at taekwondo any longer, and so you got to ask yourself the question: is it the format? Is it the change in the body type, or is it the change in the athlete that's walking through the gym? And then, my kids, I got kids that are pretty good at taekwondo. They talk to me, and I'm like, enjoy it till you go to college, and then focus on college because the
is it?
pathway to get to an Olympic berth just doesn't exist anymore with any reasonable expectation of success.
Yeah. I know we're going, and look, we're long today for not having an agenda.
All
We
right.
went long,
Well,
so
we should
let's
get out of here
let's
because I know that TJ has a hair appointment, and I don't want his stylist to get mad. But TJ, you have been amazingly patient with Moreno today. I know he's always taking shots at you, and I apologize in advance. Sorry, not sorry. And hopefully your mother's not mad at me today, Mrs. Jennings. I hope all is well. And I have nothing but
They're
mad
coming to
respect.
visit me this week.
I,
Ooh,
your
I
mom
might I
is?
might have to get her to pop on the next podcast. I might have to get her to pop on and say hi next time, just so she know.
Ooh,
She
I
can have
might be
a
busy. I might be
earful for
busy.
you.
You should have your mom on.
hey, so yeah, we should next week. I know we're gonna talk about the Pan Ams because it's gonna be finished, and you know what? Maybe we should push the podcast until Friday so I can come over. Me and Grandmaster Prince can do it together at the
Let's
same
do
place
it
because I'll be in
Friday
Cali.
because Friday I'm going to go up to on 2021. I'm with Dr. Kapner.
Okay,
So let's do it 22, which is Friday, right?
yeah,
Sounds
All
good.
right. Well, like
Later.
all
we
right,
said, this has been the Warehouse Hawaii version and nothing but mad love for you guys. And we are out.
peace.
Peace.